Say my headache's coming back because of how stupid Tandy is. No.
I was about to do the intro for a different reason, but hello, guys, and welcome to the penultimate
Hi.
episode of Season 1 for Cloak and Dagger Weekly, where this episode is called Backbreaker. There we go, I was about to say Backbiter. This is not a Percy Jackson review that comes next year. No, we're talking about the penultimate episode of Season 1, where shit has hit the fan. Everybody is panicking. Mass hysteria every which way. Cats and dogs are living together. It is a panic room all over the place. But no one really knows it just yet. Why? Well, we're gonna do it how we've been doing it the whole goddamn time we've been doing these weekly reviews. Except for that time that we were just gone for a few weeks. No, we're not gonna explain why. Shut up. So, we have the Tandy plotline, and we have the Tyrone plotline. Last time, I started stuff off with Tyrone, because I was like, that's where the meat of the whole stuff is. However, it seems the meat comes from Tandy most of all, because Tandy is the inciting incident for the finale.
Dude, she's kind of an idiot. I said what I said earlier.
So, Shane, take it away with Tandy's plotline.
First of all, I would just like to make a side note because of the very beginning of the episode. We'll probably go dig back into it later. Voodoo's weird. Anyway, moving back to Tandy. So, it kind of first starts off with Tandy burning one of her family photos, like sets her whole father's face on fire and like burning the whole photo because fuck her family apparently. Well, not apparently, definitely fuck her family. Then in a little while, it goes over to Tandy over to see some guy where she's. I would just like to say she's looking at a Stan Lee picture. Stan, we miss you and we love you.
I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it.
R.I.P. So Tandy can apparently steal hopes now. I feel like I missed the memo on that one, but here we are. And she stole that one guy's hopes, which we are not going to discuss because I'm asexual as fuck, and that's gross. Um, it then transitions into Tandy getting a phone call from Mina, she ignoring it because nastiness. And then she eventually goes over to Mina's house. And she's having brunch with Mina. She invited her father to be there with them. And I mean, he's doing okay. He's walking around with what's that called? Not a cane,
Walker.
a walker. Thank you, Brain. Thank you, Vince. And I mean, he looks good, like for someone being in a coma for all these years, like he's doing really, really well. And then she starts talking to Mina because she keeps making comments about how she don't really feel good, probably from the nastiness the night before or whatever. And she ends up offering or trying to offer Tandy a job over at Roxod, where she starts to view Mina's hopes and, of course, steals them to where she kills a bee.
Rest in peace, B. Arthur. Again.
R.I.P. B. Arthur. R.I.P. So yeah, that happened. Tandy then goes back to the church, takes some more of the money that she got for basically keeping her mouth shut from Mr. Scarborough. Was it Mr. Scarborough himself?
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah, right?
Scarborough, because
Yeah.
he offered the money. She was like, I ain't taking your money. I'm here as daddy's girl. And then she saw, oh my God, my dad had an angry streak where he hit my mom. That is going to change my whole outlook on life. So I'm going to sell out my dad.
Yeah, that guy. So, so she uses that money to bail Liam out of jail. Don't ask me why he was in jail. I kind of forgot. It's been a while that that happened. Where she brings him to the church that she's currently staying at, where she's like talking about, like marriage and like this is where I wanted to get married in the future. And he's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? To where then she views his hopes, sees that, can see them like getting married, to where she tries to steal his hopes when Tyrone shows up, which we'll get into later when we view his point of view, I'm sure. Later on, while Tyrone's at school and talking to his girlfriend, or do you want to continue first?
Nah, I'm going to do Ty's point of view after.
Okay. Where Tandy then shows up to the school, basically tells Tyrone to get out of his head. I'm sorry, get out of her head. To where his girlfriend's protecting him. Again, we'll go over that in a while. And then she tries to steal her hopes, but she basically looks at her and goes, no, thank you. Like, I don't want you to do this. No thanks. And she basically discovered who Tandy was because, once again, side note, voodoo is weird. She goes back to the church discovers that her money basically is gone because Liam is kind of a piece of shit and took everything. Which I can't really say they blame Liam because of what she tried to do to him, but you know. To then where it ends, where she goes to visit her mom, and there's a woman, I don't know her name, I don't even know if she has a name, is broken into her mom's house. Basically tells Tandy that Mr. Scarborough sends his regards, and that if she does not come out, she will kill her. And that's where Tandy's point of view ended.
And now we go to Tyrone's point of view, where Homeboy starts off in a police station after O'Reilly and Fuchs tried to bring in the evidence that Connors, a white man, shot a black teenager in the South. Which, I was with the parents just like, we gonna get justice for Billy. Yep, that's great, I will see that on Juneteenth for I don't know what. And Ty, because he's sadly in the generation that didn't understand where the hell life is going thus far with shit, he's just like, we gotta still take a stand, guys. Billy didn't die for nothing. I've been telling y'all asses, Billy was a hero. You didn't believe me about shit. But the parents, like me, growing up in the South for a lot of different reasons, and growing up around a lot of extremist groups that hate me because of the color of my skin, they were just like, Ty, get in the fucking car. Get in the fucking car. We're gonna go home. Gonna go to school. You ain't gonna do shit, okay? You ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. The reason why is because the parents, although they have confirmation of stuff they already knew 8 years ago, it's now a lot more difficult. Because, as we're going to find out by the end of the episode, Ty has put a fucking target on his back because he forgot he is black in the South of America. It would be even worse today in 2025, but we ain't gonna be having that talk because none of y'all are brave enough to have that discussion yet. Because I know some of y'all on the internet. Anywho, we then are still following where Ty is having internal struggles throughout, where he's passing by Evita, the niece to the voodoo witch that's in town, that we would talk about her thing, but now is not the time. So Evita wants to get answers about who the other person in Divine Pairing is, but Ty ain't hearing shit. He is barely doing anything. He's on autopilot. Till he then bumps into one of the kids that locked him in that security closet. Remember him in episode 2, everybody? Yeah, his name is Benny. So Tyrone, in a state of rage, is just like, I'm angry. I'm a black man in the South. I gotta get some answers. But also, this motherfucker locked me in a goddamn storage closet filled with shit I didn't ask for. So it's time I finally whooped his ass. And so everybody's just like, oh my damn. They just severely watched an ass beating from Tyrone. Nobody knew what the fuck to do. So they then just sent him to the pastor. Remember the pastor? Because we didn't. The pastor that apparently is an alcoholic, recovering alcoholic. Samesies. So he's just like, Ty, we're gonna do a history lesson about the War of 1812 in America. How did it end? There was a treaty 2 years later. How did it stop? I don't know. There was a war in Louisiana and people forgot the fight didn't really have to keep going because no one really got the memo. What's the point of the whole lesson? Well, then the priest is still just trying to talk to Ty about some stuff because it's all about the overall framing device we're going to go over at the end of this review, because he wants Ty to stop fighting this internal war where it's like, okay, you're a Latino man, hi, in the South talking to a black man, hi, about how to let go of anger in white America after he just beat up a white kid in a white school. He probably would have been expelled regardless if he learned his lesson. So it's like, you're giving him this lesson. That's great. But still in the real world, he gonna get his ass kicked out of school anyway. Cause he's still a black kid in an majoritively white school. I barely see any people of color in this goddamn school to where Shan had to be this like...
I was gonna actually hold on. Side note before you make that comment of mine. Listen, where are the people? Like the foot?
Like, we're in Louisiana. We're in New Orleans, the most culturally diverse place in the South. You have so many different people that the French country white people act so close to being like black Creole, you can't even tell that they racist until they talk out they fucking mouth. And then it's got all these things of Asian people, Hispanic people, Indians, Native Americans. So you're kind of like, why are we in a mostly white school to where my little sister here is just like, damn, Ty, you very brave beating up this white kid in this white school. You definitely a brave boy.
I'm just like, boy.
We could never have these kind of talks in the MCU. This is too real. Anyway.
Too much. Too
So,
much. Too much.
Ty is basically being told to hold up these books, kind of like a ROTC training thing. If you disobey your superior officer, it's a whole big thing. I'm not gonna get into it because I don't give a shit. So, Ty is still angry. Of course. So the priest is just like, you ready to talk? You ready to let go of that anger? But when you're a minority, you can never get rid of that anger. I can tell you this now. You are just born angry, and you don't know why. And then you meet a racist that's like, oh, you're the reason I can never be happy. You.
We're allowed to be happy in this economy?
I mean, white people are allowed to be happy.
Oh, right. My bad. You're right.
I made myself sad. Anywho.
Oh my god.
So Ty, while fighting with the priest, like he was about to literally beat the shit out of this priest with that mean right hook. I swear to God. But then the priest is like, hold up. Let me hold on to you. You really lost your goddamn mind about to hit a Hispanic man out of nowhere. Calm yourself, Ty. Ty accidentally does his fear touch, which kind of seemed to activate because of Tandy using her hope touch to also do a hope snatch technique, something that you could never do in Marvel Rivals, by the way, to where everybody is now just watching Ty look at this man's greatest regret, where I think this is probably the most morbid scene in the entire show. Even more morbid than a grown-ass man being murdered and shoved into a refrigerator. Why? Dead children and a football.
Football.
So we have to look at a bunch of dead kids as we then go to the priest who used to be an alcoholic, just sitting there drinking, trying to numb his senses, and you're just like, Jesus, Ty, no wonder you're the emotionally stable one out of you and Tandy. You see the worst things about people. Holy shit. To where he then stumbles into Tandy, about to steal Liam's hope from him because she is screwed up in the fucking head. And she's just getting mad at him for not breaking someone's whole mindset and personality like she did with Mina, which sets off a whole chain of events that we didn't even get into because that's a spoiler for how this whole season ends. So, of course, Tandy shows up at a school being like, stay out of my head, Ty. You're not allowed in my head, Ty. And then tries to steal the hopes from Evita. Evita, being raised by the voodoo priestess, being who she is like, we ain't having this today, boo. Shoves her out of her whole entire sphere of influence because the light force and the dark force stem from the voodoo world. We're gonna get into that in a different season. And that's where the whole thing kind of stems into the more mystical side of stuff that really ties into their superhero origins in a way that you can't get in the comics. Again, something we're gonna address in the second season. But then Tandy is just trying to act like she's the big girl that knows more about the world because she lost her white privilege and had to steal from rich people to support her drug habit. Trying to talk to a black man that lost his brother in front of him, had to fight off the cops, got shot at multiple times, lost his brother's best friend in front of him, still got shot at, got beat up, got locked into a whole entire storage unit, got bullied, tortured, and whatnot, still has to deal with systemic racism, and is raised under the code about having to fear about walking while black. So Tandy's whole thing about trying to say that Ty needs to grow up and he needs to know what it's like to be in the real world is the same thing I've had to hear for over a year and a half from someone that can't get a clue. I ain't gonna say no fucking names, but if you know, you know. So then Tandy is just like trying to act like a big girl and even pulls a light dagger on Tyrone, who's just like, yo, you need to get your shit together, talk to your mom, get your shit right, because you are not in your right head. And by the time Tandy is pulling the light dagger on Ty, I'm like, just fucking do it, Tandy. You can't fucking touch Ty. And even if you could, he's still going to disarm you. It's not like he has anything to fear. You need Ty more than Ty needs you at this point. So then, from Tyrone's whole POV, we then follow him to then go back home where his mom is finally ready to talk. And this is where it becomes like the center point about why Tyrone's journey to find justice for Billy is both the saddest thing, but also the most realistic. Because Ty does deserve to get justice for Billy. He is a living person just like anybody else, regardless of skin color, of sexual orientation, of your religion, of your status in life. We should all get the same justice. But the problem from Ty's point of view is he wants to live in the ideal world where we're all treated equal. His parents, and viewers like me, know that we will never have that equality. And this is also something that we will never get in the MCU because they try to address it, like with the Isaiah Bradley shit in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Amounted to fuck all, and amounted to fucking nothing, because Sam is still Captain America and he is still treated like he is a privileged citizen, so thanks, Kevin, for trying to make me think that you're socially aware. You get nothing from me except me not pissing on your front lawn and then shitting in your cereal for the umpteenth time. Anywho, God, I really hate Kevin Feige. So,
We know.
it all still stems from Ty's point of view is correct on an ideological standpoint because we all should be treated equally. Life should be where we are treated as the same person regardless of our walks in life. But he also needs to understand this from the older generation where it's a beautiful ideal. We're not saying you can't have it, but society won't give it to you. It's the same reason why I love programs and shit like this, because movies tend to act like they're aware of the whole situation about things, like why black people in America and Africans don't get along. People will still just try to be like it's a surface level thing, but it's very deep rooted sort of shit that we will never get in some stuff from Marvel Studios now. We would have probably gotten it in a show like this, but we're never gonna get this shit anywhere else. But we're not gonna get closure on this point because Ty, although getting to understand where he's gonna go in life and the answers that he needs, there's just this whole thing from Mary's point of view that is just setting up where Connors put the blame on Fugue's death on Tyrone. So Ty's gotta run away from the cops. He is truly living the legacy of Luke Cage right now. Just being a black man in America in the wrong place, the wrong time. Thanks, Marvel. I have never been so on the social commentary ladder than when we just started to do this weekly review series, Shan. Like, that is telling something. But we gotta talk about Mary O'Reilly, about her descent into madness before she enters a role of hers that I wanted to talk about, but we gotta wait till the whole final episode for me to finally reveal that shit for you guys. So,
Next week, baby.
yeah. So, here's the thing. Mary is depressed because she saw her now boyfriend in the refrigerator. Why am I laughing? Because it is so depressing that my whole brain is like, if you can't just laugh at the music that was playing to make you think it was the most dramatic thing, how can you even just still call yourself a person? Like, just having no music and just like violin strings at the end of the last episode, sad, somber, having pop music for just the investigation. Kinda hilarious. But Mary finds some evidence that points to foul play, but Shan, you wanna take
We don't have
this?
we don't have time to unpack that.
Okay. So they go to a bar to celebrate the life of Fugue, and I'm gonna cut my half of the segment here so that Shan can take the rest because we both talk about O'Reilly here.
Well, first of all, Mary is definitely getting into it with drinking.
Mm.
She takes the whole bottle. It's a whole thing. As she's like basically like gets the bottle taken away from her because she that clearly has had way too much. Yeah, our favorite cop shows up, and by our favorite cop, I mean I want to strangle him myself. Connors is there, which first of all, who bailed you out of jail, sir? But anyways, so yeah, he shows up. Basically says like, "Oh dear, oh, we're gonna miss our dear friend and shit," and like, too bad he hung out with like the wrong crowd or whatever. To where Mary started beating the shit out of him, or at least attempted to, before he started beating the shit out of her. Which these cops suck. Like, y'all are really seeing this man assault this woman who's also a cop, and you're not gonna do anything about it. Like, you clearly all are against are all together and against one another. Like, what kind of bullshit is this? To then, I am passing the torch back to you because I kind of low key forgot.
You're fine. To then she's just trying to cry in the car, and cry outside the car. You know how it be. To where she finally hears that they're trying to go to 1134 Solomon Drive, and even in the episode, I'm like, why does that address sound familiar? To where it goes back to Tyrone's storyline, where I'm like, I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it had something to do with a familiar address. I remembered.
You did good, kid. You did good.
But then we just gotta talk about the voodoo storyline. Auntie got drunk. Auntie spat out rum everywhere. Auntie played bad tic-tac-toe. Auntie saw Roxanne. Evita met Tandy. Evita then made a statue of Tandy where she had like the most perkiest of ass. And that's about it.
The voodoo is weird.
Voodoo is weird. Ooh, but yeah, that is Backbreaker. But Shan, you said you had something to say about the title.
Did I?
I think so. Like, I was gonna talk about the wraparound, like what was the whole episode being about, but I was like, I don't really want to talk about the priest anymore.
I don't recall saying I wanted to talk about the title.
I will.
I don't recall.
I
I'm
will.
not gonna say I didn't, but I don't remember what it was.
What were your thoughts of the penultimate episode of season 1?
Low key, kind of fucked Handy. I'm sorry, girl. I know you're going through some shit, but like, also, like, fuck off. Like, just because you can't live a happy life doesn't mean you have to steal everyone else's hopes. Damn it. That's all.
Okay. Well, I gave like an entire dissertation on the social commentary about this episode alone, and probably still on my whole Kevin Feige should not be executive producer of the MCU as my bandwagon. As we're doing this episode, the same day the Fantastic Four trailer dropped for everybody. Like, that just shows I don't give a fuck. I got huge balls right now just saying fuck Kevin.
I'm excited for that one, but we're not here to discuss that.
Nah. I'm just saying, we will never get storylines like this in the MCU, and that's what pisses me the fuck off. And also, I know people are saying, but what about Daredevil Born Again? Listen, that's a continuation from a Netflix property away from Kevin, who stole the formula. Don't act like Kevin knew what he was doing being executive producer. He stole someone else's homework to then carry on to do his own shit. It's not the fucking same. That's like if I were to go up to Shan, take this show that she's been working on for years, and then I just slap my name on it, said I wrote and directed the bitch, release it. I didn't make the bitch. Shan did.
Damn right.
So who the fuck is actually winning here? But I digress. I already know the MCU community does not like me. So we're gonna prepare for the finale of season 1, which is Colony Collapse. We gonna see y'all next week with that one. Whoo, these episodes getting longer and longer, Shan.
Well, to be fair, last week we had a real rough time trying to talk about it.
We did. Anyway, see y'all next week. Bye!